All right, guys, it's all on you to revise your draft for the final, which is due next week. So as you're looking at the feedback that I've given you, you will see a number written on your essay somewhere, and that goes back to the rubric. All right, so if I put a 2 on your essay, you need to think about, why do you think you got that 2? All right, and I need you to be very critical of your writing, because some of you are just kind of winging it, and the problem is that's not going to work out for you this semester, okay? It's also obvious that some of you are not using the template that I gave you, and because of that, every essay now, that will be mandatory, and I'll show you what I'm gonna expect that to look like for next 6 weeks, not for this one. So thank those lazy people, because that just changed the rules. All right, so going through this again, oops, that's a synthesis. Let me get down here. All right, you get 1 point for having a thesis. What I've noticed is a lot of you think you have a thesis, but it's not a thesis. So make sure you're paying attention to these bullet points over here, okay? The next one, which is worth the most points on the rubric, is evidence and commentary. What I've noticed is a lot of people are giving me a lot of evidence, but then you're not explaining how the evidence ties back into your thesis. Right? It has to go back to this. Or some people are giving very general, without much specific evidence, and that's not helpful either, okay? Now, sophistication point, I still have not seen anybody with any sophistication points awarded on their essay, but again, this is draft 2. So the way you get a sophistication point is by doing one of these, all right? Now, the one that I've harped on the most so far this year is articulating the implications or limitations of an argument. All right, so think about the broader context of what the prompt is, and why does that matter? Not just for you personally, but maybe for us as a class, or us as a society, or even bigger, right? America, or just people in general, humanity. All right, so don't be afraid to think bigger. Now, if you have questions about the rubric, I know I kind of rushed this. You can go back and see our video from Monday. That's fine. What I wanted to do is spend some time looking at a student sample. Okay. Now, this is from an AP language student, but I want to go through and just kind of pick apart some of the key details that I think you might be struggling with. Now, granted, this is a very advanced writer, and this is his final draft. So he has rewritten this essay at least 4 or 5 times. So keep that in mind as you're looking at this. But this is a format that you can expect to see with Miss Falk next year. She will have you label this. And for those of you not following the format that I've prescribed, we will now be doing this for the rest of our essays. Good job. All right, as I said at the very beginning, you are expected to have a formal introduction. What that means is that you have a hook, you explain your hook, and then you somehow tie that into your thesis statement. So let's look at what this student has. One can often describe the differences between safety and freedom as not the literal comparison of the two concepts, but rather the individual's perception of each. One individual may define safety as a barrier in front of freedom, while another may define freedom as a complete lack of consideration for safety. Though the perception of safety and freedom varies within every man, the most basic evaluation of the importance of each persists. The average man does not want a true and literal sense of freedom, but rather to feel safe within their surroundings. Though a desire for freedom does have a commanding cultural impact upon society, safety ultimately eclipses this desire in importance, as it is a more fundamental basis for decision-making on all accounts, while also upholding evolutionary instinct even in a contemporary society. All right, so let's pick apart this thesis here. Granted, this is an extremely advanced essay. I'm going to show you another one possibly tomorrow that has another one that's a little bit more average. But notice, there is not a mention of Mencken. There is not a tie-in to the specific freedom versus safety. And so now he does right here, okay? But it's obvious that the student has consulted a thesaurus and is varying their diction accordingly, all right? The thesis is arguable, all right? Because you could easily say that, this is incorrect, that it's not our freedom that is impacted upon society, but our desire for safety, right? And vice versa. So remember, your thesis has to be something that you can argue against or for, all right? And again, arguing does not mean that we're yelling. It just means that we have a difference of opinion, but we're going to explain it to the other. Okay, let's go down here. Another group of students is missing or are missing the topic sentence, okay? Some students are just jumping right into their evidence, and that is not correct. It says here, or let's just look at his. By definition, safety is described as a desire for emotional harness among society. All right, so just looking at the topic sentence, he's going to be talking about something about the emotional harness and in society, okay? It stands as the most basic driving factor behind nearly every major decision individuals make daily. The student continues by explaining that topic sentence. Just as an excess attachment to a sense of materialism plagues contemporary society, creating a detached, paranoid sense of endangerment, a correlative desire to escape such feelings presents itself. The solution to such a constant sense of danger is to base decisions in determining the safest option possible, which is the first consideration taken when any level of decision making occurs. All right, so the student has followed up their topic sentence by a full explanation of what it is they are considering for this paragraph. And then he gets into the evidence here. So it says, let me scoot that over a little bit. Multiple studies of human nature have illustrated that consideration of safety as the single most influential factor behind decision making, ranked higher than attempts to achieve a sense of freedom resulting from these decisions. Okay, so he's quoting something. Explanation, as proven by these studies, safety is of a higher importance than freedom on a fundamental level. From a practical standpoint, an individual considers the safety of both themselves and others before potentially striving for any level of freedom within their lives. So he's explaining Maslow's hierarchy of needs here. All right, but notice the way this student started with the topic sentence and the explanation leads directly into the evidence that is used, and then it is followed immediately by an explanation. All of this goes back to support the thesis statement, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post this essay along with this video so that you can read the essay in its entirety. But I want you to go through your essay and think about it, because some of you are missing crucial points and you will fail the final draft if you do not fix those, okay? I am not providing feedback on any more essays because you had until Monday and then I extended it to yesterday. I now have no more time because I'm reading the ones that have been turned in. So you are welcome to log in with me on Friday if you so choose. And we can talk about your essay, but I'm not going to do a big in-depth study of the essay, okay? So I hope you will take this seriously. I hope you will do your best and just take time to wow me, all right?